Hello, hello. Happy December 1st. Happy Monday. Last month of the year. I'm super excited for all the call topics this month. This one will be a nice intro to what we're kind of trying to accomplish with all of these calls. Just every call in December will be focused on helping you guys prepare for 2026, whatever that means. So getting your workouts dialed in, getting your mindset in a really good spot, making you feel super confident. And hopefully, you guys join all these calls, you'll feel like you, instead of maybe, falling into the craziness of the holidays, you guys actually spent some time preparing and you're in a better spot than you were before December instead of being worse off. So, today we're going to talk about, I won't say the top 5 strength training tips, but just 5 strength training tips that you should be aware of and that you should be working into your routine if your goal is to build muscle and make progress towards your goals. So Shalise and I will go through these 5 items and talk about our experiences and our clients' experiences, and just give you guys a little idea of some of the things that I know both of us think about when we're training and things that we tell our clients to think about when they are training. So, anything you want to say before we get started, Shalise?
No, I'm just, like you said, I'm really excited about the topics that you have this month. I think they're some of my favorite to talk about, honestly. So, and I think like the ones that I feel like I also repeat the most with my clients are the ones that you've picked this month. So I'm really excited about these topics.
Yeah, it'll be good. Well, let's start off with our first item, first training tip. This is truly finding your limits, pushing yourself in the gym, and not just saying that you're pushing yourself in the gym, but actually doing it. So a couple ways that this can show up where you might be thinking that you're pushing yourself, but you could push yourself either in a different way or harder, would be the first one we'll cover is ego lifting. So if you are lifting heavier than you should with suboptimal form, please stop doing that. No one cares. Well, I shouldn't say no one. How do I phrase this? Let me say it and then we can expand. No one cares what weight you're lifting at the gym. Like, you care more than anybody else cares.
Yeah, no one's paying attention.
Yeah. No one's paying attention. And if you look bad lifting the weight you're lifting, people are going to pay attention. If you look good lifting, they're going to be like, dang, nice. Doesn't even matter what's on the bar. You're doing it well. And they can tell, like, oh yeah, they're pushing, they're working hard.
And here's the thing, like with your weight, like no one knows. So, and I know we're going to talk about this later as far as cycles go. No one knows where you're at in your mesocycle, your training cycle, or how many rep ranges you're supposed to be doing or anything like that. So the weight doesn't matter because it could be, it could be your set of, let's say it's 6 to 8 is going to look very different than a 12 to 15 rep set and the weights you're picking for that. So really, it shouldn't matter. Like you said, Taylor, you're the only one who knows what your weight should be and what you're training for and what your purpose is. So don't ego lift.
Mm-hmm. And that's ego lifting for other people, but there's also ego lifting for yourself. Like, if you know that in the past you lifted a certain weight, or you've been wanting to be able to lift a certain weight and you go up to that weight even though you're not ready for it, that's not good either. Because you're just lying and cheating yourself. What'd you say, Shalise?
That's where injuries happen.
Yeah.
You're not ready for it. You don't have the range of motion for it. You don't have the strength for it, whatever it, or the bracing or whatever it is for it either. So that's where injuries are going to occur.
Yeah. And it can be super frustrating. I mean, all of us have chased some kind of goal, strength goal like that. And it's tough. And some days, you go in and you think it's the day and it just isn't the day. Like,
that's true.
Earn earn that and wait for it, and put in the work to get there, because then it really does feel good, look good, and you truly get that like confidence boost and that feeling of accomplishment when you do it.
Yep.
Okay, next one. Will it comes up a lot when you are when we are training people. So if you are lifting and you know that, like, mentally, okay, if I'm trying my hardest, my last couple reps like should be hard, and like the tempo should slow down, like maybe my legs shake, like I'm going to start grunting, whatever, there's certain things that you do at the end of a set when you're really pushing hard, and all of those things tend to just happen like without you even realizing. Um that is something that you should not be like faking to make it look like you're trying hard. And so this one, this one might be a little bit of a touchy subject, but if you've got like a gym crush or something and you're trying to impress them and you want them to think you're trying so hard on your set, like actually try hard on your set. Don't just make it look like you are. And if you happened to pick a weight that was too light for your rep range, just do more reps and you'll get to that point. Or stop, add weight, and then keep going. Like, it's okay if you chose the wrong weight for your set. You don't have to fake hitting this point of failure in order to feel good about your lift. How do you feel about this one, Shalay?
Yeah. And it's funny as a trainer and watching people do it, you just kind of giggle at them. You're like, what are you doing? Like, stop it. And that's the other thing is, again, speaking from a trainer's perspective, when they grab a weight, they're like, I really don't know at this point what weight to grab. So they grab something and they rep it out. And like I can tell it's too light for them. So it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to stop in the middle of your set, and you don't have to keep on going just because you grab that weight. Go put it down and grab something else that's going to challenge you. Don't waste those reps. Waste energy. Go grab something that's going to challenge you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not wasting the set. I think sometimes people can feel like, oh, well, I already started this set. I don't want to have to like backtrack and do another one. It's like you just get more reps.
Yeah.
So
And I'll do that, like, even at the end of my sets, like if okay, say it's my third set and I'm fatigued, I'll go the opposite direction too, where, I'll go with the starting weight I had, and I know my rep range is, okay, say it's, I just did this, so I'm going to use this as an example, triceps, for example. Like those are the ones like for that third set, like, holy shit, where did my ability go? Where did my strength go? Because like before I was just doing 12 and now I'm barely getting to 9, So I'll still like, I'll drop the weight and finish out the reps too. So yes, it's too heavy for me for that third set, but I also kind of want to push to get a good pump at the end, because it's a oh my god, I just totally lost the word. Accessory exercise. So I'll also drop the weight to get the extra couple reps. But I forgot where I was going with that. What was the whole topic of this thing? Yeah, don't think you just have to push through just to push through, to grab what you need.
Yeah. Find the right weight, whether that's more or less than the weight you originally chose. Even if you did 4 or 5 reps and figured it out, it's like, oh, okay.
Let me ask you this, Taylor, with your clients, like oftentimes, especially beginners, like new clients to me or beginners in the gym, I always tell them week 1 is kind of week 0, where you're playing with the weights to try to fill it out and figure out what it is and figure out form and stuff like that. What do you say to your clients for that first week? Is it just kind of you're playing around, or like, not playing around, but you know what I mean? Like you're testing out the machine, the form, the sets, the weight that you're going to need for that exercise. What do you tell your clients at that time?
I will usually give people at least 2 weeks to adjust to a new program, to where I'm like, yeah, those are the dead weeks of, figure out what your starting weight is. Keep in mind that the next 2, maybe 3 weeks, that weight is going to probably jump up if you've never done the exercise before.
Yeah.
just because like your body is adjusting to like that new stimulus. It's learning how to do that movement better. So you might start super light that first week, the first time you do the exercises, but then weeks 2 and 3, you're going to actually approach the weight that you will want to start at and build from. So you'll see a pretty steep increase if you're, especially if you're someone newer. Um, and I'll just tell them that definitely to send form videos so that I can check form and make sure we're doing everything the way that I'm intending. But, you know, people will ask questions like, how do I do this? Or my gym has this, doesn't have that. So it is really like a trial period for those first 2 weeks. So I just make sure there's a lot of communication. I don't have any specific things that I say.
Yeah.
What do you do for your clients?
Yeah, kind of, I mean, basically the same thing.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, it's like I always consider that first week, week 0. Everyone's like, oh, it's my first week of this. And so, you know, on week 4, I should be changing a program. No, you shouldn't. Like there's still a lot of progress to be made. I love that one. It's week 4, I'm ready to switch. Okay, well, no, actually, we're not gonna switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that first week, I'm always telling everybody, yeah, just kind of like figure out where you're at. Like I said, especially those who are new to me and new to my programming and new to the gym. Or if there's a brand new exercise on there they've never done before, or a new machine they've used before. Like, yeah, a lot of the, especially clients that have been with me for a while, of course, we're building on what they've been doing. So they're familiar with it, but it's like if I throw something in there or a rep range or a set that they've never done before, you know, it's always kind of just fill it out. It's going to take a couple weeks for you to find, you know, form, feel where the target muscle is, or to feel the target muscle that you're supposed to be working in that exercise. All those things, like let's focus on that, and then it's okay. Now let's progress from there. So yeah, very similar to what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a client, I'm not calling anybody out at all, but brand new. She's been out of the gym for quite a while. And she was on week 4 of the programming. And she's like, yeah, I can't progress on RDLs. I'm like, sweetheart, you're not even close to being done progressing on RDLs. I promise you.
Like,
And
how
then,
many years have you been doing RDLs?
yeah. So like, we're good. You're going to progress on those. We'll figure some things out, but
Yeah.
week 4 is not it.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much that we can learn and so many modifications you can make to make an
Yeah.
exercise work for whatever, whether it's an injury or like a certain muscle group that's weak in a compound lift.
Yeah.
All that. Cool. Yeah. So last one for pushing yourself, finding your limits. The mental side of things. Big weights can be big scary. So if there is a weight or a lift that is intimidating for you, just being aware of that and making sure that you're working around it and not letting that lift limit your progress. So similar to what I was just saying, there's so many modifications we can make to exercises and different ways to do all of these movements that we can find one that will get you, will help you make the progress you want to make. And we can work up to where you do feel comfortable doing the exercises or the weights that may have made you a little bit nervous before. Just building confidence in just by doing. So, do you have any? You want to say anything about that, Shalise?
Um, I guess the big thing is that there's no exercise that has to be done. So like going off of what you were saying, piggybacking off of what you were saying with, we can modify everything. Like there's an exercise that we can switch out.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of that is squats in general. Like you don't have to do a barbell squat. There's no rule in anywhere that says you have to do that. And yes, I put Bulgarian split squats on your program. If you absolutely hate them, that does not mean we have to do them. There are other exercises that do the exact same thing. So communication is important. I mean, just because, but then let me also say, to also say off that just because you don't like it doesn't mean it shouldn't also be in your program. Like if there's a pain that comes along with it, then please tell us that so we can modify. But also some of those exercises that you absolutely hate might be the exact ones you need to be doing too. So there's that too. So again, it's just communication between you and your coach too. And yeah, like, and a lot of it is like progressing is hard. It's not going to be a week by week thing either. So don't expect it to be. Like you're not going to, it's not going to happen. And there's some areas where progression is gonna stall anyway. You're gonna hit your ceiling at some point. Like I always tell my clients with lateral raises. Okay, so you're at 20 pounds and that's as far as you can get. That's probably as far as you're gonna get because that's a really hard exercise to get any stronger in, especially for females, and the leverage that you need, the moment arms, excuse me, all of that kind of stuff is gonna play a factor in that. We'll never, as females, probably, unless we're using a lot of momentum, be, 50-pound lateral raises. It's not going to happen. So there's also a ceiling that you're eventually going to hit on certain muscle groups too. So keep that in mind. That progression on that, as far as weight goes, may not happen, but there are ways to intensify it by using like drop sets and different rep ranges and that kind of stuff too. So it's not always just about the weight. There's range of motion, that's progression as well. And I'm kind of getting off topic, aren't I? A little bit.
Maybe, but we can transition into our next.
But yeah, so anyways, I'll step down off my soapbox now.
Yes, no, 100%. All right, number 2. Well, I guess let me just summarize. So number 1 is being honest with yourself and others about finding your limits. So really putting in some effort to find your limits and challenge them. And once you do reach that limit, there's a new one. It's not like you get to a certain spot and you're like, okay, sweet. Like I can squat 135 or I can like bench 225. Speaking to the men with that one, probably.
I'm like, wow, you're benching more than you're squatting right now. Okay.
Just trying to be inclusive, like what, once you hit that benchmark, that doesn't mean that you're done. It means that you have a new goal. All right, number 2, paying attention to your tempo. So if you and your coach are not talking about the tempo of your reps, I'd say you should be. And progressive overload isn't just about adding weights or reps, just like what Shalais was just saying. Increasing the intensity is like a great way to like make progress without pushing your body to a point where you're just lifting heavy all the time and you're doing a lot of damage and you're getting closer to where you might get an injury. Using other methods and especially tempo to like control the weight and do different do the same movement just with a different focus can help increase your strength a ton. So there's a lot of research about like the eccentric portion of a movement. So instead of me just mentioning a bunch of stuff, let's actually pick out some things we want to talk about. So switching up the tempo. Go ahead.
Can I start with something on this? Like,
yeah,
one thing I see with my clients a lot, as far as paying attention to tempo, is just like a big one is there's 2 of them actually: shoulder press and especially machine shoulder press. Well, any shoulder press actually. Now that I think about it, shoulder press and squats, they just drop into it. And so that eccentric motion, they're just dropping and then, trying that concentric going up or whatever. That's when they struggle. I'm always having to tell them, stop, slow that part down, work against gravity on your way down. Don't just drop into it. 1, that's really, really hard on your joints. But 2, that's where the magic happens, is that eccentric for most exercises. So slowing those tempos down and working against that during the eccentric is huge. And I constantly have to tell my clients, slow down, slow that part of the rep, that part of the set down, or excuse me, rep down. So I want to bring that up where you talk about like intensifying things, because just like basic form in general is where I see a lot of people falter because they're just dropping into something like that.
Yeah. And so just because I'm not sure who our audience will be here, the eccentric portion of a movement is the part where the muscle is lengthening, and then the concentric is when it is shortening. So in a shoulder press, you're lengthening here, and then you're shortening at the top. So the part coming down is going to be your eccentric, which just going down doesn't mean that it's always the eccentric, but for a lot of movements that that is the case.
It's the lengthening of the muscle wherever the muscle is being lengthened.
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite on like lat pull downs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the eccentric is the part where you're going back up and lengthening here versus shortening when you're pulling it down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So having good form and the right tempo in the eccentric, protecting your joints, and not missing out on the magic that does happen when you do control that part of the movement, because in every, like, throughout the range of motion of any exercise you're going to be doing, different parts of each of your muscles, and potentially different muscle groups will be working. And so if you are speeding up any part of that and kind of like bouncing out of things, or not, or like, I should say, like, using too much momentum, because we're not trying to eliminate all momentum, but just using too much, which we'll talk about, then you might be missing out on building strength and muscle in the areas that are working during that part of the exercise. So like a big one that we'll see, I'm sure, is like with squats, like bouncing out of the bottom, or with like bent over rows, at the top part of the movement, kind of like getting your knees involved and kind of like hunch, like using your body to move your chest forward instead of bringing your elbows up and back.
Yep. Another one is like we just said, lat pull downs. You're pulling here, but then you're letting it go real fast up. Like, again, that's where you want to feel that good stretch and control right there.
Yeah. You know what, Shalise, actually, one of my favorite exercises you ever gave me in a program was when you had me do, it may have been like a wide neutral grip pull down, but it was slow for the concentric. And so like I'm so used to pulling down at a normal speed and then doing a slow eccentric, but you were like, okay, really feel like from that top, like where you're fully extended here with your arms, from that top point, like slowly go down to a 3 count. And I was like, that was one of my favorite things that you ever put in a program, because I was like, that is so cool. And it totally, I feel like it totally changed the shape of my lats. Like it was crazy.
Yep. And you feel the engagement, because I feel like a lot of the time people aren't actually engaging their lats. They're using their shoulders or traps to pull down the bar. And like when you focus on that and like really feel that muscle and focus on that muscle doing the pulling, then then you're going to finally like, oh, there it is. There's the lat.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were super spicy. Love them.
Was it just a regular seated one, or was it the cable lat stretchers?
Just seated.
It was just the seated one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So other things for tempo, making sure that you know how long a second is. 1 Mississippi is accurate. Like, you better be saying a word after a number. If you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, you're probably going too fast. I'm really sorry to tell you. Like, it's going to double the amount of time that you're supposed to be doing something for.
And I want everybody to, for the record, to hear that Taylor just said that. For those of you guys said that I don't know how to count. I get yelled at all the time. The way you count is very different from the way I count. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Yeah. What else with tempo? I will say, so I know that Damien uses the eccentric pause, concentric pause format, which is EPCP. I use that in my app as well. So if that's something that you guys have, make sure that your tempo is also being like, you're also considering the pauses, between the different parts of the movement. So between the eccentric and the concentric, there's a pause. And sometimes that can mean pausing and holding at the bottom. And if it says 1 second, that's not one go, that's one Mississippi go. So that like start and stop is important. We're not just trying to cause you pain. Well, kind of, but
I mean, that's not our only purpose.
yeah. But it does mean something. So even if there's like a 1 second pause, that should be like a nice standard. Like on an example might be, I know Shalise, you put like dead stop rows in your programs sometimes, right? So when you do that, I guess, how would you tell a client the difference between pausing and keeping tension versus pausing and releasing tension? Is there ever a time that you would recommend releasing the tension on the bar and fully like resetting, or do you always expect them to hold the tension in the pause and then continue?
And oh, dude, that's a great question.
Yeah. Mm. And it totally changes, based on the exercise you're doing, but that
Yeah, that's
something that
right.
you would tell them?
Yeah, that's what kind of I was like, well, shoot, well, for this one, this, and this one, this. That's where I was kind of like pausing for a second because like it depends.
Yeah, maybe give some examples.
So ask your question again.
How would you tell a client?
So okay, for one, so deadlifts, tension should always be there. Like you don't want that slack in the bar because that's gonna just wreck your back at some point. So anytime you're doing any kind of deadlift where you're touching the ground, so straight-legged deadlifts, conventional deadlifts, like you still always want that tension in your arms. You don't want to completely let go. Or if you do reset, you're still that you don't want to slack. And if you are being slack in the bar, like make sure you're not like as far as readjust yourself completely and get that slack out of there before you pull. Gosh, I'm trying to think. So like the dead stops, those I kind of like still like I would still have tension on there always.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know that I would ever, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head where I wouldn't. Can you give me an example of something you were thinking of?
I don't know. It kind of just came up as a question. I don't know that I can think of anything off the top of my head where I would say like, unless we were practicing bracing.
Right. That's a great
But
point. That's a very great point right there.
yeah. No, I think it should always be there. Like if you're
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of a rep, I mean, that's kind of key too for like, there are some times where I will tell people to do, what's an example? Like in a split squat or a certain lunges, I'll tell them don't go all the way up, like keep the tension on your glute the whole time. So they're like not doing the full range of motion. They're like staying in a lower part of that squat or a lunge. And so that's where like I'll give them instruction to intentionally keep tension on a certain muscle and not like not lose that just from doing a full range of motion. So yeah, I don't know of any reason that you would release that tension. So yeah, keeping tension throughout the whole tempo. Tension on the correct muscles, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I think like if like maybe to get like the last few reps. So say like in a leg press or something, you're kind of going and you have it, but you don't anymore. So you just kind of pause for just one more second, like just to get a breath, brace again, and then keep going. I think maybe that would be the only time where like, I know I have a few more, but I just need like a split second just to stop.
Yeah, for sure. So in the middle of a set, like, or maybe towards the end of a set, I should say, if you need just a little breather to do that pause, like rest for a second, and then keep going. Leg press is a really good example of an exercise where people do really like stop too much. Like if you do the leg press where you're pushing out and then you immediately start coming back down, your legs will be so toast.
Yes.
They'll be so toast. If you control that, like push out, come back in. It's not even at the bottom, it's at the top that you're gonna feel that killer you're gonna feel that killer eccentric.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So number 2 was paying attention to tempo and counting properly, actually counting seconds. Number 3, which we kind of touched on a little bit, was utilizing partial reps. So adjusting your range of motion and doing partial reps in addition to full range of motion reps. I'm not out here telling you to go quarter reps some squats, but purposely programming in, or like your coach will put them in your program, partial reps to just like, a lot of times it'll be called like a burnout set or some sort of pyramid set where you're just repping it out and you are like I'll say prioritizing certain parts of the full range of motion in addition to getting full range of motion exercises. So what are some exercises that you will commonly do that with, Shalise?
I just actually did this with my clients this morning. Hip thrusters are one of them. So doing like full range of motion, and then I don't know, they call it the calf glute bridge. But then, yeah, so full range of motion, like you would see Brett Contreras doing, and then going into the like final partial reps at the end, just a final burnout. And like I said, that's called the calf glute bridge. But yeah, doing the partial reps there. That's a killer little burn right there. I'll do it with rear delts for sure. Get that little final burnout so you can get that full range of motion, but then you're like, oh my God, you're feeling that burn in your rear delts. Okay, but keep on going, still get those. And that one, I actually, like, I'll be completely transparent on that. I stole that one from John Meadows. I saw him do the rear delt swings one time, and he's like, I don't care for getting partial reps. Get 10, 15 more if you can on the rear delts. Like, do the burnout on that. Where else will I do burnouts? Or partial reps, or burnout like that, like, or partial reps, are you saying? Because I do it on back rows too. So I'll do like quarter reps with things, or even like lunges, doing like a full lunge, quarter rep, then back down. So those are awful too.
Shalise. Oh my gosh.
Those are fun. Gosh, where else? Yeah, I'll do cable rows. Partial reps.
Do you ever do any with any overhead, like whether it's a pull down or a shoulder press or anything like that?
I guess if you 21s are kind of like that. Anytime you do a 21, you're doing like the partial, like a certain range. So that's a partial rep right there. I'll do that with leg extensions. I'll do that with biceps. I'll do that. I've done that with overhead presses, with military press, and rear delts even. I'll do the full range of motion, short, back here, and then the full range. So yeah, those are, again, when they're programmed appropriately, they're really good.
Yeah, agreed. They're super cool. And it's a great way to, if you guys have done any of my workouts or you've trained with me, I'm a huge believer in just absolutely cranking up the intensity of an exercise so you don't have to lift heavy. Or I should not say you don't have to lift heavy, but so that you don't have to lift as heavy as you would without those intensifiers. So I'm always adding things like partial reps, because you can drop the weight, and I think it makes you better at doing that exercise. You get more familiar with like feeling your muscle throughout the movement when you're working out this one range and then the other half and then the full reps, it's like you really, really start to feel your muscles. And I think that that the idea of mind muscle connection and actually getting as much activation as you can in your muscles, like that, I think partial reps helps a lot with that. And I think that's a problem that a lot of, especially new lifters have, is like, so sorry, what is my rear delt? Like, what are these muscles? I can't feel my glutes doing anything. What do you mean? And like partial reps can help with that.
Yep.
So, also with partial reps, kind of like on the training side, when we are with our clients, if you are of the mindset of like, okay, when I do the rep, I just need to get the bar to a certain spot, or like I need to get as to a certain depth. If your goal is the full range of motion, you're going to miss out on some of the gains of a partial rep. So if you're like, as a trainer, if you're lifting and you start failing to where you're only getting partial reps, that's the moment where I can see, okay, you're actually starting to fail. And I can assess like what weight are we using, what weight should we be using, and then I can decide, okay, am I going to spot, am I going to let you burn out, and then I'm going to drop the weight and have you finish out the set. Like, let your coach or your trainer that you're working with in a training session help when you are getting to that point where you're doing partials. So let us make the call of like, if you get a partial rep, just do it. And if we say that, do that. Like if you're doing lateral raises and we're saying like, okay, you get to the point where you can't get here anymore and you're just getting here, and we say keep going until you're moving an inch and we're like, okay, you're good. Like, listen to those cues and know that it's your rep doesn't necessarily have to be that full range of motion to be effective. If that's what's being like, if that's how you're being instructed.
Yeah, and when you're with your trainers, they're there for a reason. They're there to be spotters for you too. And so I don't know if you guys have ever heard of forced reps. That's what we're there for. Like if you're to that point where like we know you still have 2, maybe 3 left in you, but you're like you have like this. Okay, I'm showing military press. Like you have this one little sticking point right here, but as soon as we get you past that point, you can finish out. Let us. Don't just go, okay, I'm done. Like, no, let us, we're there, we're spotting you for a reason, and we're telling you do 2 to 3 more on purpose because we can help you get past that sticking point. Now, of course, when you're by yourself, no, but when you have somebody there, get in some of those forced reps, like have them help you, because that's where, again, that's where the magic happens, is when you push your body past the point where it can work and you're telling the muscles they need to get stronger. And that's all we're doing is kind of going, here you go. Like, here's a little bit of help in that little tiny sticking point that you have. But after that, you're good to go. So let us help you.
And kind of building on that and combining number 2 and number 3, so tempo and partial reps. When you find yourself getting to a point where you're like, okay, this part of the movement is really, really hard and it is getting difficult, that is a great time to like slow down and like breathe into that, like really lean into that moment that hurts. Don't try to rush through it. Don't try to skip it and do a partial rep. So like for example, squats, if you're like, I won't be able to stand up if I go any lower, just go, assuming that it's a safe exercise, but just go lower, see what happens, and like take that part slow so that you can really feel and get the benefit from that point. Don't just like speed up. So it's not, when we were talking about tempo, it's not like your tempo can't change, but I just don't want you to change your tempo if it's just to rush through a part that hurts the most. Usually the part that hurts the most is the part that's going to help you grow the most and make the most progress. And there's I've quoted this video on our one of our lives before, but there's this one video, and I think it's a guy who is, and I forget his name, I should know his name, but he is training, I think, Derek Lunsford or Nick Walker, one of the big boys, and all he says is like, make it most painful. And I love that. I tell myself that constantly when I'm lifting, is like, make it most painful, because you think that it's going to hurt so bad and it's going to be so horrible, but then you do it and you're like, oh, I'm done. And now I get to rest for like 1 to 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. I think I've heard somewhere, I can't remember who said it, again, a big, big, huge, well-known trainer, or maybe it was even Arnold Schwarzenegger now that I think about it. But
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, the reps don't count until it starts to hurt.
Oh,
Have you ever heard that
yes.
one?
Oh, I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
yeah, like, okay, so here you're struggling. You're finally struggling. This is where that's what your muscles need in order, like I said just earlier, for that signal to say, hey, fucker, you need to get stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even like what we were talking about with the leg press, where it was like, oh, I need a moment to pause. In those moments where you think you need to pause, challenge yourself not to. And that will help you find your actual limits and break past that mental limits. Look at us coming full circle.
That's right. It's like it was meant to be. Like it was intentional or something.
Love that. Okay, so make it most painful. And what was you said the reps don't count until it starts to hurt, or
Yeah,
yeah, love that.
or something along those lines. I probably totally butchered that, but basically that was what it was.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 4 is going to be training phases. So having specific phases, or Place you used the word mesocycles.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for your training. So having a certain focus, whether that is a change in like volume and then the weight that is associated with it, or if that's like using different exercises that you're going to be progressing on and getting to, like, I don't know if Shalace, you do like a split squat, or like a lunge to a split squat to a Bulgarian, or something like that. But do you want to talk a little bit about the different phases that you might put your clients through?
Yeah. So, I, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, obviously it's person dependent and goal dependent and all the things, but I mean, for my general pop clients, um, it's just basically progression, whether that's sets, reps, form, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of communication with them about what's feeling good and what's not.
Mhm,
Um, but so a great example is, and I think I've mentioned this before in our lives, is like my clients that are getting ready for a competition. When it gets closer to a show, like the phase right before a show, we go to a lot of machine work, and that's on purpose.
mhm,
So we're taking away the stability that's required. So instead of big back or barbell back squats, it's going to be maybe Smith machine squats. So you're not having to like totally crash your CNS going through, the end phases where you're depleted and tired and, you can barely put string sentences together, Um, so yeah, so there's definitely different cycles. It's so funny to me when I have clients who are like I was talking about earlier, oh, it's week 4, it's time to change the whole thing. Well, no, it's not. Like I might change a few exercises or change, like I said, the tensifiers or what they are. So, this might be the cycle where we add drop sets, or
mhm,
rest pause sets, or maybe not very often, but maybe a superset at this point, or whatever it is. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's definitely cycles, and again, just because it's
mhm.
4 weeks doesn't mean everything's going to change up. Like for me, for example, I've been on the same program for, I don't know, a really long time, like 3 months right now. It's been the same thing. And he finally just switched it up, and all he did was change the rep ranges. And that was
Yeah.
it. Still the same exercises, still the same things. It was just now, okay, here's your new rep ranges. That's it. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely cycles, and they all have a purpose. Here's my thing. Like, I know a lot of people program deloads. I am not one of those coaches. And I know everyone has their argument for them, but basically, like for me, when I'm working with my clients, I do it based on how they're feeling. Like, when do you need one? I'm not going to
Mhm,
program one because, oh, it's 10 weeks in or 12 weeks in and now it's time for deload, or 8 weeks in and it's time for deload. Unless it's something like a competition, obviously we'll plan around that. But like
Yeah.
just generally, I'm not going to go, okay, you've been doing this for 12 weeks. Now it's time for a deload. You've been doing this for 8 weeks. It's time for deload. No, let's talk about how you're feeling. Are you recovering? Are you sleeping at night? Like, how is all of that going? How's life? So let's talk about that. If like, you're super busy because something is coming up, okay, at this point, let's plan a deload around that kind of situation. So it's when it comes to programming deloads, I don't just put them in there just to put them in there. It's that communication with the client just to make sure it's happening, or if they need it.
Yeah.
So I kind of went on a bunch of different tangents, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's really important to mention. Because, well, especially for like lifestyle clients, most of the time life will give you plenty of deload opportunities and you don't need to schedule a full week in order to do it. You'll be able to recover if if you just have normal life stuff like, oh, I couldn't get to the gym this week, or I only went 2 times instead of 4. And it's like, okay, if you're not even going consistently, we don't need to plan for you to do less. Just
Right.
do as much as you can.
Yeah. Especially now, especially this time of year, knowing
Yeah.
that my clients are probably going to get sick at some point, in the
Oh,
next few months.
oh,
So,
so
with all the
sad.
travel, with all the, obviously we're not outside as much, we're not moving as much, all the different foods we're now eating. I mean, we're going to get sick at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let life plan the deload.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But here's one thing I want everybody to walk away with too. Like, yes, there should be cycles that are happening, but just because you hit week 4 doesn't mean your program should automatically change to something completely different. It shouldn't. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like this whole muscle confusion. I need to be doing something different. No, you're probably going to be doing the same thing. Like I get a lot of, oh, I've been doing this one forever. Well, yeah, because it's working. Like you're
Yeah.
progressing, you continue to progress. That muscle is growing. We're getting out of it what we need out of it. Why would I change it? Why fix what's not broken? Like it's working. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not always the most exciting thing to do the same things over and over again, but the boring shit works.
Yeah. I'll if I ever have clients that are come to me and they're like, I don't know how to progress on a certain exercise, or they're talking about like being bored of a certain exercise, and I don't want to change it and I do want to keep it in the program, I'll send them some videos of people talking about like different cues and like how to maximize engagement and like not to change the way they're doing it, but just to get them thinking about like, hey, if you're bored, maybe it's because you're not like really feeling the movement, connecting with the movement, and doing it the way that I would want you to, because it should feel real good.
Yeah.
And I know not everybody is like super interested in that, but for the ones that will tolerate something like that and would find it interesting, there's always something that you can do to learn more about a movement or an exercise, and you can always get better at it. Like if you think that you've mastered an exercise, you
You have.
haven't. You haven't. Sorry.
Yeah. I've been doing this since 2009 and I still learn something every single day. Every single day.
Uh-huh.
And a different, like, yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn and so many different things, like why this may or may not be a good, I don't know, good form on this or bad form on that and all that. I'm like, oh shit, I never even thought of that. So there's always something to learn.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we can go into our last tip here, which is kind of, we've touched a little bit on it while we're talking about all of these, but just playing an active role in your workouts and in your programming. So when your coach says, okay, you're going to do this exercise for 8 to 12 reps. You're going to do it for 4 sets. And I want you to increase the weight in between sets whenever possible, for example. Um, Asking yourself, like, do I always do the same number of reps just because the paper says so or the app says so? Do I always just use the weight that feels comfortable for me? Or the weight that I used last week and I start there? Um, Do I take the rest times that are prescribed, or am I feeling like, I'm very well rested? Maybe I'm not pushing myself enough in the sets, or I need an intensifier in the exercise because I can't go up in weight, like we were talking about with lateral raises, for example. And like, what are your warm-up sets look like? So especially as you get strong, let's start with the whole idea of this is making the most of every rep and every set that you're doing in the gym. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it to the best of your ability. And that means you don't just walk in and say, okay, I'm gonna grab the 20-pound weights because that's what I did last week, and I'm gonna do 12 reps because that's what the paper says. Like, if on that day it takes 14 reps with the 20 pounds, do the 14 reps, go up and weight next time, get 8 reps on the next set, or 9, or wherever you find that you're like failing in your set. So the weight and the reps that you do should be like an interactive thing. It's not like a cookie cutter. It's not like a, oh man, I don't want to talk bad on this, but it's not like a workout of the day where it's written like, okay, we're going to do, pick your weight and we're going to do this. Like, no, you should feel like you have the confidence and the knowledge of like your training and your strength to be able to pick the right weight and reps and play around with that during your sets.
I would love to start this one off by also saying track your workouts. Track them.
Oh yeah.
Write it down. Please start writing down your workouts, because I can guarantee you that, and I see this all the time, even me, I forget what rep I'm on sometimes and forget counting. So how are you remembering what weight you had last week? So write your shit down and go, okay, so this is where I was. This is how many reps of this one I did last week. Okay, I know I can at least start there. And every week, you know where to start at least, or that you could push yourself a little bit more the following week. So that's my biggest one right now. Like, I still have clients that they're like, I'm like, what week are you on? I have no idea. What do you mean you have no idea? If you're writing this stuff down and you're tracking this, you should know where you're at. So please start tracking. Like you said, what was it, like this first sentence? Be intentional with it. What was this?
Oh, play an active role.
Right there. That's how you play an active role, is tracking your workouts. Start there.
Yeah.
And you can do exactly what Taylor just said. Like, progress on the stuff. Like, here's where I was last week. Okay, I know I can do more this week. Or, oh shit, I couldn't meet last week. What's going on? Oh, well, I've been sleeping like shit. So we can find patterns in what's going on too. Like, okay, so you weren't that strong this week. What was happening? Lots of stress, lots of sleep, loss of sleep, whatever. Okay, at least we know that and we know what's going on, and you're not freaking out that you lost strength. You didn't. Your body just wasn't prepared for it this week. So we can have those coaching relationships with you too. So track your workouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The app that I use for my clients and workouts, it has like an exercise history, so you can see the weights that you did and the last weeks. But there are apps out there that you can like build your workouts and then just track them. You don't have to like have an app through a coach. You can just download one if you don't want to write it down in a book. So whatever your preference is, there are ways to do it out there. For like picking your weights and doing warm-up sets, let's chat about this because number one, we'll say your working sets are what your coach prescribes. Warm-up sets are not part of your working sets. If you want to maximize your like what you're getting out of your workout, your warm-up sets, you should write them down, you should track them, but you need to do the number of working sets that's being prescribed by your coach. So if I, as your coach, take a look at your workout and what you've tracked for your weights, and I see that you started off with 50 pounds and you did a set, and then you went to 90 pounds and did a set, and then you went to like 125, and then you went to like 130, I'm gonna be like, okay, so the first 2 sets that you did were a waste. 125 and 130 were good. Next week, you need to start at 125 or 130. Like, do your warm-up set, but you need what am I trying to say? Your working sets should be very close in weight because each time you should be very close to like your, whatever percentage you're working to, like 80% or 90% of maximum effort. Like you should be in that same zone for all of your working sets and not including your warm-up sets in your working sets.
Correct. Hallelujah. Amen. Mic drop.
Yeah, and it's like you can't say that you're doing 4 sets of Bulgarian split squats if the first 2 were like with 5 pounds and you went up to 30 pounds. Like, girl or guy, you are stronger than that, and you can work harder. So, what is the last one that I was gonna talk about? Oh, giving feedback about rest times. I have found that rest times are very individual. So if you don't train in person with your coach, talk to them about what feels comfortable for you. So like I have some clients where they're like ready to go and they're lifting heavy and they're pushing hard and they just don't need a ton of rest. So in those situations, they feel like I'm making them wait forever. And then there are some people where they feel like they can't get enough rest at all and they wish that they had more. So it feels like I'm rushing those people. So just giving that feedback on what your rest times feel like. There may be certain exercises that you need more rest on if it's like a weaker point for you, or if it's just something that you really don't like doing. Sometimes it can feel more draining, even if it isn't actually. You're like, oh, I hate this. Is this over yet? Like, I don't want to do it, and you want more rest time. So talk to your coach about that, because in general, like we can prescribe pretty good rest times that will get you to where you want to go, and they are intentional. So listen to them, but still give feedback about what you're experiencing. Like if like an example for me is like when I'm doing leg press or deadlifts, like I need like 1 to 2, I'll say like a minute and a half to 2 minutes between each set, or I feel like I'm gonna pass out and I can't lift as heavy. And that's just like me personally. I've always been that way. So like if I'm gonna be lifting to my max potential, I need a little bit longer rest time on those exercises. But for things like shoulder press or, like calf raises or whatever you're doing, like you don't need as long of a rest. And so if your coach has given you like 90 seconds and you're like, yo, I really don't need that, like we could just do 45, then that's good feedback to give.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add to that.
Okay.
But take those rest periods too.
What'd you say?
Take them though too. I have people like, oh, I'm just going to jump right into this. Like you're talking about with deadlifts or squats or something. No, like take the 2 minutes because you need it. Because I have so many people who come from like the group X style classes where it's jump right into the next one. Jump right into the next one. It's like, whoa, stop. No, like, is there a time and place for those? Occasionally, for sure. Like conditioning days or whatever, or you're on a time crunch. Sure. But yeah, also remember that rest is just as important so that you can push just as hard as you did on the first set, almost as hard or just as.
Yeah. All right. So quick summary for our 5 strength training tips if you're trying to build muscle. Number 1, finding your limits, actually pushing yourself, and being honest about how hard you are working and pushing. Number 2, paying attention to your tempo and counting actual seconds, not the ones that you count in your head. Number 3, utilizing partial reps. 4, incorporating training phases. And then number 5, playing an active role in your workout and your programming, working with your coach to get the most out of your training program. And I know on our last call that we had, our last group call, we talked a little bit about training with other people or watching other people train that are more advanced than you or like are more intense than you. I don't care who you are, there's always going to be somebody that is bigger, better, stronger, more determined, more intense, and find those people and let them inspire you to push yourself because it's tough. It is tough mentally to go into the gym every single workout and be like, okay, got to be on my A game today, like game time, let's go, like whatever you want to say. And having external like energy sources that you can lean on, whether that's like a dope playlist or a workout partner that you work out with like every other month or every month, even like you just meet up with them one time, start organizing those things. Reach out to your teammates, to your coach, maybe they can connect you with somebody, but utilizing those people and those sources so that you don't just have to rely on yourself and your own motivation all the time because it can be really, really draining. And you want it to be fun, and it is a community thing. So connect with people um, and learn from other people.
I love that you said that as having other people inspire you instead of intimidating you.
Mm.
I love that you said inspire you. So remember that when you walk into the gym, everybody's on a different chapter. Everybody's a different, part in their life where they've been lifting. So don't play the comparison game. Just be inspired by that. Like if you see someone lifting strong as fuck and you're like, holy shit, I'll never get to that point. Like I'm out of here. No, use it to inspire you. Know that they started where you were too, that they grew into that. I like my favorite story about American Iron and specifically was like I used to train at Fitness Connection. Like I taught Group X classes there and I trained there because obviously it was conveniently located, right? And I was the strongest female there. So, I thought I was pretty badass. I walked into American Iron one day and saw a girl who weighed less than me, had less muscle than I did, lifting way heavier than I ever imagined lifting. And I think she was doing deadlifts. And I was like, this is where I need to be. Like, if I need to grow, if I want to grow and I want to, whatever, I have these goals, I need to be somewhere where I'm going to be inspired by that, go, oh, hell no. And maybe that's the competitive person in me too. And that's a different, totally different person, different brain too. But I really love that you said it the way you did. Have them inspire you. Don't be intimidated. Don't play the comparison game. Be inspired by that and know that shit, I'm gonna get there someday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Another
I think that's a lovely place to end. So if you have any other final thoughts.
I'm not. This is a good one. This is a fun one.
All right. Well, next week we are going to be doing, let me find out. Next week is, love this. The goal is maintenance. Stop chasing extreme protocols and choose balance. This one is going to be this one's going to be a good talk. So looking forward to that one next week. But
Yeah.
for now, if there's any questions on any of the training tips that we gave or how you can incorporate them or something that you think should have been on this list that wasn't, please let us know, reach out.
Drop them in the comments.
What'd you say?
Drop them in the comments.
Drop them. Cool. Well, happy December, everybody. We will talk in a week.
Thanks, Taylor.